Hi folks, I'm Nikki from the University of Wolverhampton. I'm here to help support you in keeping an element of creativity in your homeschooling curriculum. Today's tutorial is aimed at Key Stages 3 or 4 and builds on my previous tutorial on 1 point perspective. Today we're going to level up using 2 vanishing points. To recap, we're dealing with a horizon line and a quantity of vanishing points, in this case 2. The horizon line signifies the height at which you view your object from, whereas the vanishing points reflect your rotation of view. So a horizon line basically is where a horizontal surface meets air. It will vary depending on the height you're at when you view an object, whereas your vanishing points will vary when you move around the object. 2-point perspective drawing is useful in drawing 3D objects like a cube, but also drawing objects that relate to each other like buildings in a street. The key thing to remember is that distance makes objects appear smaller, whereas up close they appear bigger. This even applies to areas of an object. For example, if you stood at the foot of a tall building looking up, you'll notice that vertical lines appear to tilt towards each other. If you were to follow these lines, eventually they would intersect in a vanishing point. This is known as converging verticals. Today we'll look at some slightly more complex strategies for drawing, including a sneaky trick. You will need paper, a pencil, ruler, rubber, optionally a pen, masking tape, an elastic band and a paper clip. We'll start with our horizon line, which can be anywhere on the paper. It's best to draw your lines faint and treat them as guidelines so they can be rubbed out later. I'll be drawing them slightly heavier so that you can see them clearly on the camera. This time though we need 2 vanishing points because we're going to see multiple sides of the same form receding into the distance. Somewhere between the 2 vanishing points we need to draw a single vertical line. Then we're going to join this line up to each of the vanishing points, top and bottom, in order to make a kite shape. If you watched my tutorial on 1 point perspective, you were probably already 1 step ahead of me. Now we just need to determine how wide or long the object is by mirroring that first vertical line either side towards the vanishing point. This should look pretty solid in 3D, but we can turn it into the frame of a box by connecting each corner to the vanishing points, then add a final vertical line where they cross. Do the same above the horizon line and you'll see the bottom of the box, making a 3-sided form. There's a sneaky way to do all of this. Start again with a horizon line and 2 vanishing points and your first vertical line. This time, tape a broken elastic band with masking tape to each of the vanishing points so it stretches along the horizon. Then use the tip of your pencil to stretch the elastic band from the top and bottom of your vertical line. This will act as a guide as to where you need to draw your lines. If it's too fiddly, use a paper clip or a bent piece of wire to hold the elastic band while you draw. But not all forms are box shapes. You might, for example, want to draw a cylinder or a pyramid. Let's go back to that box frame that we drew earlier. Here we can see both top and base of the box. We're going to divide these up kind of like a union flag into 8ths, then carefully round off the edges. It won't be a perfect circle, more of an ellipse, because we're viewing it from an angle. We can thicken up our lines or rub out the guidelines to be left with a cylinder, which in turn we can turn into a cone with just 2 lines from the centre of the top to the edges of the bottom. Of course, by using a square at the bottom instead of a circle, you'll get a pyramid. These are ideal if you're drawing a church spire or a castle, for example. Finally, why not have a go at drawing multiple forms in relation to one another, creating a street scene? And if you can, send us your work. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Follow us on Facebook for more creative tutorials for all ages coming soon.